Welcome back to Playing Through Monster Party. We're on to level 4, week 4 of Monster Party. As I'm recording this, actually right now, our sister-in-law is landing here in Dublin. She's going to be visiting Ireland for a couple of weeks, seeing a bunch of the country, using our place as a landing pad, visiting us. We're going to be spending a great weekend around town together. The weather could not be more Irish for her arrival, at least from what we've seen so far. The last few days have been super, super humid, foggy, and misty. Not so cold, which is nice, but our laundry is not drying so well on the drying rack, even in the house. It's so humid, but it doesn't feel all that sticky. Not like in Iowa when we get those late summer humid days. Those get pretty rough, but it's not so bad here because the temperature is not so hot. In Monster Party, we are in the pyramid level. Interesting that we fought the mummies throwing their wrappings in the last level, and we don't see that boss pop up in this one. We have 3 different bosses we fight here in this level. We'll walk through and we'll talk a little bit about our upcoming plans. We're going to be visiting Northern Ireland next weekend, so that's going to be fun. We're going to see a little bit of Belfast, and then we're going to go up to the Antrim coast and cruise around in a rental car, seeing an old castle at a distillery, and the Giant's Causeway, which is a weird volcanic geological formation of these hexagon-shaped pillars that come out and form a wide swath. We'll take some pictures of it, and that's going to be really fun to see. And just great to visit with our first visitor to come out. This armor goes down. It's like an old samurai suit of armor named Slowpoke. However you interpret that. I know this is a Japanese game that may have meant something more in Japanese, as a lot of these things in this game probably did mean more to the Japanese developers. I did read that there was an interesting prototype of this game made that was a little bit more violent and less cartoony, meant to be more of a horror game. But that wasn't the one that got released here in the US. It was a little more cartoony, but they still let in a lot of the blood effects, and the word hell pops up in the game, which was surprising because Nintendo, with their seal of quality issuing back then, was pretty strict about violence, blood, and foul language like that. Foul, dropping hell, H-bombs. So I've worked my first week ushering at the event center in Dublin, and it's pretty great. Mostly I direct people around and keep an eye on doors and check bracelets and badges, but it's good work, and I get to overhear a little bit of some of the concerts that went through. Last week I worked a Soundgarden concert and 2 Fleetwood Mac concerts, and I got to pop my head in just to glance when I was between posts at the Fleetwood Mac concert, and of course I got to listen to a lot of it through the doors while I was watching doors. So it was a lot of fun, and it's good work. I take my bike to work, so I have my night bike riding kit of my reflective vest and my flashing headlight and tail light, and I find that I really enjoy the night bike ride coming home from work. That's one of my favorite parts of work, besides working itself and earning a little bit, is getting the chance to ride my bike in the middle of the night. The city is quiet, the traffic is almost non-existent, and it's just great to be able to have the roads and the trails all to myself. And I even found another Heineken glass in the tunnel underneath the train tracks going through town. So on the video I was just spamming for health back there with that scorpion. The trick in this game with those is that any enemy that drops a heart or a pill to transform you into Bert, when they respawn coming off the screen, they'll keep dropping that same one. So here we have an annoying cat thing, and that the hit sound of this cat is quite irritating. And the boss design on these kinds of bosses that just stand still and throw something at you, I wish they had not made them have so much health. Because it makes you just desperately want to just jump up and start wailing right on their head and just take the damage. But to avoid taking damage, you have to do what I'm doing here. Stand back and try to time the ones that come at you at the correct angle. Time your swing to get it to bounce back the right way. It just takes a long time, and these ones that have, in my opinion, too much health. But it's okay, the game's 20 years old plus, and it's just something that we play to enjoy. So for my job, I had to get a black suit. So I went to Penny's, and I talked a little bit about this, and I got a very cheap polyester suit, and I washed it, because I wanted to get a machine washable suit. So my first wash of the coat and pants, I had washed the shirt before. It came out of the wash. It was all wrinkly, and I washed it on, no heat, so I didn't melt the fibers of the suit, but it came out wrinkly. So I had to iron it, but I know ironing polyester is a pretty risky business. So I spent a lot of time and was very cautious about lots of things, and I was looking at how-to videos on the internet about how to iron a polyester suit, and I was very timid with the heat. I ended up ironing it with a wet t-shirt laid over top of it. No, not a fun wet t-shirt, just a wet cloth. There, finally we beat the cat, and I get a Burt pill. So I had a wet t-shirt laid over the pants, and I had a low iron, but the low iron was not doing anything. So I had to keep cranking up the heat, and I turned on the steam, and just kept cranking up the heat. I ended up using an almost full power iron, but through the wet fabric, I was able to get the wrinkles out, and I got the creases back in the pants, which was nice. The creases were totally lost in the pants. There was just hardly a shadow of crease left, but I was able to get the crease back in the pants, was able to get the jacket nice and flat again. So now we are looking good and ready to continue on. So it's nice that the polyester doesn't wrinkle so easily most of the time. I fold it up into my old briefcase bag, put it in the basket of my bike, ride to work with it, and then change at work into the suit, because I don't want to wear out the suit riding my bike with it. I have a feeling that if I wore the suit while biking, I would wear out the seat of the pants pretty quickly. That bike seat, I don't think would be too kind to the seat of those polyester pants. So I avoid that. I just wear my jeans and then change at work. Have my full safety kit with me, though. I have my helmet and the lights and the bright orange or the bright green vest. I bring it inside, so I always have a big armful of stuff to bring in the venue. But it's cool, and it's a little bit of that living in a big city, working, kind of at night hours, and taking a bike to work through rain and weather and everything else. Empty boss chamber. I have one boss left to beat here, and it's a rather fun one, as we'll see here in just a minute. But this level gets pretty monotonous, this pyramid level. I know it's kind of fun. I get to take a shortcut there with Bert. Here's the last one. Get a rock and roll guy. A little rock and roll music. I'll let you enjoy it. Down he goes, and got the key. Now, like every level in this game, just on my way to the end, which also seems pretty monotonous, because fighting through the levels, they're super easy. They're meant to just kind of drain you of a little bit of life when they set up cheap traps like that. But most of these are just, if you work on your timing, or you're patient, like I am not very patient on these, you can get through just fine. So next week, we will be talking about what our first weekend was like with the family visit, and also talking a little bit more about what our Northern Ireland plans will be. This video will go up, the next video will go up while we are in Northern Ireland, so we'll have to wait for the following week's video to talk about what we did up there in Northern Ireland. Once we make our way to the exit, I will see you next week.